Welcome to GC Cars. My name is Eric.
And I'm Jesse, and this is the all-new Kia Niro Hybrid.
Alrighty, Kia Niro. So you can get this as a plug-in hybrid, as a full EV, or as a regular hybrid, which this is the PHEV. And today we're going to take a look at this. It's worth the money that Kia wants for it. It's kind of like a city car-ish thing. Exterior first, interior then, and then we're going to drive it, of course, out on the road compared to the competition. What do we think of the looks, Jesse?
You know, it's a bit, I don't know how to explain it. It's a pedestrian kind of.
Yeah, I mean, it's nothing really stands out about it. I think they did a good job. I mean, with the proportions of this SUV, it's a hatchback.
I can see over the top, so
right,
it's not an
it's a
SUV.
hatchback. We're not 6 feet tall, so I think they did a fairly good job. I really like this kind of like the stripe along the front.
To me, that kind of makes it look like a true EV. I don't know what it is.
It does. It
right?
is a little more modern. I like the bulge in the hood here.
Yep.
Cityscape green.
I'm not quite sure which cityscapes are green, but I'll take their word for it.
It's not here. Maybe somewhere in South America.
Maybe in 20 years.
Maybe in 20 years in the future. But we got the gloss black pillar, which I personally really like.
To me, it's like, I mean, we'll talk about piano black later, but just,
oh yeah, we're gonna get talking.
There's a lot of high gloss in this car.
You want to know a cool thing about this pillar though? It has an air channel running through here. So the air goes around, it's through here, comes out, and reduces drag in the back.
For that high performance drag racing that this car is designed for, right?
Fuel economy, exactly. Other than that, no, honestly, I'm totally content with how this looks. I think this is probably, if you have like an economy car, this probably looks nicer than most of them out there. And yeah, the tails are kind of cool. It's a hybrid subcompact. Like,
and I'm actually a fan of the color. I didn't really mention it. I'm a fan of this green.
I agree.
It's kind of nice.
I agree. It's a nice color.
And the rims. We never talked about the rims.
We did not. I just saw them too. 18-inch wheels. Really good ones. But shall we take a look at the? Look, I can see over this. This is not an SUV.
Yeah.
Interior?
Yeah. Let's go.
Okay. Kia Niro interior.
What do we think? Overall,
what I think is this is your best friend inside of the Kia Niro. So you can wipe down all the surfaces every day because there's so much goddamn piano black in here that this thing will always look very gross.
I'm not sure what. I'm not in tune with the manufacturing process. I don't know if piano black is a cost-saving thing.
Oh yeah, it's totally cheap.
It is just. I mean, there's even piano black.
Going
inside, like it's just gonna be dusty every single time.
Okay, to be fair, that's the only place I don't mind the piano black.
Because you don't see it.
Because you don't really touch it unless you go like outdoorsy and you have like shorts and then you get the mud on there. That's the only place I don't mind it. But why are all our touch surfaces piano black?
It looks good when it's brand new. Once you sit in the car for 2 seconds, it's infuriating.
It scratches and grows in that. Anyhow, I think they get the idea. Otherwise, I think from a design perspective, it actually looks quite nice.
It's a pleasant looking interior.
It's a pleasant looking interior. It is very roomy.
Yep.
It feels like this doesn't take up much space.
Minus the glove box, but that's a different story.
Yeah, the glove box is kind of like just put it an inch further, but
it can barely fit a glove.
Yeah, but what's nice is like these cup holders with the push out thing. That's pretty good.
This lighting here is nice.
The ambient lighting is nice. I think the materials for the most part are pretty good.
The seats are pretty comfortable.
Yeah, I agree. Heated and ventilated as well.
We were talking about this roof liner. It feels like it's some kind of recycled material.
Yeah, it's definitely.
It doesn't feel nice, but honestly, it looks nicer than some of the cheaper headliners I've seen.
Yeah, I have no problems with this whatsoever. No. One problem I do have with this interior is that I like this material here, this kind of like matte material, and I think it feels pretty good.
I'm surprised it's not piano black.
But, right? You missed a spot there, guys. If I'm driving, sometimes my watch hits this, and my watch will scratch on it, which is not terrible for the watch, but 10,000 kilometers in, 100,000 kilometers in, this part will be scratched because this is like a material that's kind of like rubbery a little. This will get easily scratched.
Right.
So this won't be looking as nice.
And this material here is kind of like dimply. You notice that? I don't know if that's...
I think that's more of that kind of...
But again, we're nitpicking. It's not...
Yeah, like that's not even really a criticism. It's just kind of like... It's
I do like this control center here.
You
don't like it? I'm kind of a fan.
while standing still, yes.
Yes.
While doing highway speeds on the highway, not a fan.
Point taken.
Because at least we got volume knobs and tuning knobs, that's good. But like I like the efficiency in it, that you can like this dual purpose and you can switch it around. Pro tip, if you want to change what's the default screen, you can hold the swap button for 5 seconds and get a little menu.
It'd be cool if there was a voice command to change it, so you'd have to look off the road a little bit.
Oh, don't even get me started on voice commands in cars. Like, it's like the first iPhone was better than modern than an EQS was. Anyhow, I like the efficiency of it, but I don't like that it's touch controls, because I got to keep my eyes off the road. It's not too bad, and most of this is like accessible through here.
Right.
Speaking of entertainment, it's not as big as in some other Kias, but it works totally fine under the auto Apple CarPlay. Wired gauge cluster looks good.
Heads-up display.
Heads-up display. Honestly, there's a lot to like in here.
Ventilated seats?
Yep, ventilated seats. Not the strongest one, but that's fine. And like, this is honestly pretty good.
It has everything you need.
Yes, I would just go easy on that piano black, guys. Like, don't. Just stop. This is an intervention. Stop. Moving back to the second row, quite roomy.
No complaints. There's a lot of room. It's comfortable.
Yeah.
There's almost no piano black.
Yeah, just on the vents. That's it. And you don't really touch them too much, so that's fine.
You got USB-C ports here on the seats.
As in Kia fashion, which I really like. It's really good. Really good. And I
Plenty,
mean,
plenty of headroom.
yeah, there's really not much to say. There's no recline, no like moving forward or backwards, but it's totally fine. There's good side-to-side support on the seats. I don't mind being in the back at all. Moving further to the trunk, 22.8 cubic feet of space, just like that. And what I like is it's really nice and deep.
It's a nice size trunk.
Yeah, especially for a subcompact SUV, you can get a good amount of stuff in there. We got grocery bag hangers, and of course, as always, you can put down those second row seats for a total of 62.7, I think, somewhere around there, cubic feet.
Not bad for an SUV.
No, but yeah. Interior conclusion, nice, but stop using piano black.
I mean, for me, I would be searching for like what do you call those? Veneer, not a veneer.
Oh, like a little,
like a vinyl just to cover it up. Anything, flat black, anything.
Right. Yeah.
But that's just me.
Anyhow, shall we go onto the road?
Let's go for a drive.
All right, out on the road in the Kia Niro Hybrid. Brake torque. Nothing happens because it's a hybrid.
I feel like my head is not going to hit the back headrest here.
Well, we find out. Oh, a little bit. I hit it. There we go. There we go. A little Niro that could.
Sport mode, baby.
Sport mode and back into eco because there's no normal.
So what we just felt was 139 horsepower, 195 foot-pounds of torque.
Yes, from 1.6 liter. 1.6 liter.
Yes, inline 4.
Inline 4, naturally aspirated with a front motor, because like I said, this is a hybrid vehicle. So let's turn everything back to normal. Want to turn traction control back on. Not that we really needed to turn it off. But yeah, I mean, it's not quick. But honestly,
It's
like,
not meant to be.
exactly. And during daily driving, even out on the highway, I never found it to be lacking in terms of its power. I can accelerate up to this speed. Hello. That was, admittedly, the 6-speed dual clutch did not quite know what to do there. I was a bit confused. It kind of downshifted, but didn't give us power. But like, as long as you drive it like a normal human being would.
Which
totally,
Eric doesn't do usually, but
right, for scientific reasons, obviously. But then this is totally adequate. It drives pretty nicely. I think it's fairly smooth to drive, especially once the EV kicks in, right? And yeah, I don't mind this. Fuel economy is good right now. We're at 5 liters per 100 kilometers, which is of course a bit worse because we just filmed and that means it's idle. So you can hit 4.5 combined pretty easily overall. And the usual hybrid quirk though is that once the internal combustion engine kind of kicks in, it's a little on the noisy side.
Yes.
It doesn't really sound that great, but hey, it's a hybrid. I'm totally fine with that.
time for our famous, much-loved corner test.
Yes, handling test in a hybrid. That's what they're built for. So sport mode,
Time to make use of this handle here.
right? And let's hit it. And it drives like a hatchback. Who would have thought that?
Who would have thought it's not an SUV?
Right? No, honestly, it drives totally fine. Like, steering very vague, goes numb once you start pushing it. But in terms of like, even on these winter tires, dynamically, it's fine. It's adequate. It's a hybrid.
I have a feeling most people buying this car are not going to be taking corners like that.
No track days?
I mean, hey, if you're late for school or something, you know, I don't know. You're late for karate practice, I don't know.
Right? I just gotta send it. Speaking of sending it, should we send you in the driver's seat?
Let's do it.
Nice and efficient.
I'm always a fan of heads-up displays.
Yeah, the heads-up display is really nice.
You don't have to look off the road. It's
Great. Unlike for your HVAC control.
It is not showing me. It is not showing me the speed limit here, though, but that's fine.
Yeah, I think that was just no sign. It does usually do it. But yeah, speaking of how it rides more, the ride quality is actually surprisingly nice.
It's nice. It's smooth.
Honestly, it's one of those cars you just kind of get in, you go from A to B, and you don't really think about the journey too much. You just, it's not an exhilarating car, an exciting car. It's just comfy and effortless.
It's smooth until you have to push it.
Yes, which ideally you never have to.
Right.
But honestly, like, ride quality is good. Noise levels are pretty decent. The suspension works well. I'm comfortable in this thing, even in the driver and the passenger seat. It's not gonna ride like an Escalade, but it's not an Escalade, and it doesn't cost as much as an Escalade, right? So, speaking of tech, what you just noticed is that we didn't have our little blind spot mirror things in the gauge cluster like we usually do in Hyundai Kias, even though this is the top spec. So we don't get this fancy camera suite, right? We don't have like the cool 360 cameras and all that. We just have a backup camera, which works fine. It's easy to see out of this thing. But we get adaptive cruise control. We get our little lane keep assist, which works fantastically in here.
Let me try that right now.
Yeah, put it on.
Yep. And
there we go. So technically you have to keep your hands on the steering wheel, of course. To test these, you always have to be a little more lenient on that. But it works very well. It's not connected to adaptive cruise control, so you can just leave it on. And as you can see, it's totally fine.
It always takes me a few minutes to actually trust it.
Oh yeah.
Because you can't ever fully trust these things.
Oh no, never. Never. Even like Super Cruise, you never trust them fully. But for what it is, it's really
working.
good.
I haven't touched it in, 30 seconds?
Yeah, it's pretty lenient.
So it works.
But yeah, so basically this car, there's just nothing really wrong here. Like, it's totally adequate. It's
minus
smooth.
the panel black.
It's comfy. Yeah, minus the panel black. Inside and out for you. But if we want to throw something wrong out here, what's the price, Jesse?
$41,533.
Exactly. So that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money for a subcompact SUV, and
you're getting up there.
You are getting up there, and especially once we compare. Let's say this is your only car. You buy this as your only car. For $4,500 more, you get a fully optioned Sportage hybrid, or a Tucson hybrid, or a RAV4 hybrid,
which offer a lot more cargo space, a lot more room in general.
Better tech.
Maybe
not the RAV4, but
I mean, the RAV4 infotainment at this point is very outdated.
Yeah,
but
they do offer you generally more and more comfort. Where I'm like, oh, okay, that's kind of a bad value. Let's say this is your second car, and you just want to have something fuel efficient. 40 grand gets you good EVs, and even you can have this as an EV. Admittedly, it starts at 46, so it's a little more if you get this as a full EV. So I think the hybrid aspect as a top trim, it doesn't really make much sense.
It's hard to make sense of it.
Unfortunately, but this starts just over $30,000. So if you get it as a mid-trim level for like 32, 34, then I think, you know what, I can understand it, because you're still getting a pretty nice car. Like the interior, yes, it's like, we hate the piano black, but from like the materials and the touch points,
it's a surprisingly nice interior.
Exactly. It drives really well. It is extremely fuel efficient. So mid-trim level, yeah, I don't see an issue here. And I think under that, we can be like, okay, this Niro makes sense. You might want to look at the plug-in hybrid. You might want to look at the EV version, really, for a more logical choice in that regard.
I would have to agree with you on that one. I feel like we've kind of covered the basics. The car doesn't do anything wrong. It does a lot of things right. It's just the price point is hard to justify.
I agree. Which is, I mean, especially with the last few years, it feels like it's a lot of cars, it's that case, and maybe it's just kind of like a readjustment in the market.
It's
for what kind of money gives you what kind of car. But right now, at least, there's still competitors that just make a little more sense for the price, I think. But with that being said, I think it is time to end this review. Thanks so much for watching.
Don't forget, we got videos every single week.
And with that, I hope to see you next time. Thank you and goodbye.